Hello everyone, it's Lottie from Cancer is a Lifestyle. So you guys know that how much I enjoy tags, and I think I've done a lot of tags. So Terry and I got together and we kind of created our own. Now I watch such a variety of genre YouTube channels. I just do not have just one type. I love diversity, and I love to watch a diverse amount of channels. So I wanted to do a tag with Terry that kind of everyone could do, and not just the yarning community. So before I start with the tag, I want to tag some people right off the bat. Now, yes, I never tag anyone, do I? I do all these tags and I never tag anyone. I always just say whoever wants to do it can do it. But this time I'm going to tag some people, okay? So here's my list, you guys. So the very first one I'm going to tag is my special friend who loves to tag me. And that's Donna from Gabby Grammy. The other one is Anna from Tales from the Craft Room. Ernie from Ernie Hatmaker. Gina from Gina Loves to Craft. Ruthie from Ruthie's Crafting Corner. I think that's how it is. I hope I didn't misplace your name, Ruthie. Forgive me. And Neva from Manic Mama's Musings. So their links will be down in the description below. Please go and show them some love. If you're not subscribed to them, go ahead and subscribe. Some of them are crafty, yarny women. Some of them have to do with just crafts of other sorts. Hint, hint. There's some gardening. There is some gardening / homesteading. And I think that's about it. But you guys go check them out and show them some love. So let's get on with the tag. Okay, number one. And I will have the questions in the description box below. Number one. Oh yes, what is the name of the tag? It's hashtag getting to know me. Wait, I bet Terry's going wincing like, Lottie, get it together. Get it right. So it's hashtag getting to know me. Number one, favorite childhood memory. Now I will tell you the very first memory when I think of my childhood. I have this image in my head of my brothers and I mean we are small. Now I was not born here. We were born in Poland, and we did not come here till I was 7 years old. And I am right smack in the middle between my brothers. So my brother was 10, I was 7, and my younger brother was 4. So this is before then. So I had to be like 5, something like that. But the image I get in my head all the time, and we came from a farming community in Poland. And at that time, it was still a communist country. So you can imagine how country it was. It did not have a lot of the modern, technologies and things that there are now. Like Poland is free, and it's just totally so Americanized, and I mean just so modern compared to how we remember it. So my very first memory of my childhood is my brothers and I running through the fields in the back of our farm. Now, my parents were only they were not full-time farmers, but they had their own land and they grew, they had their own cows and all. But my dad was a truck driver, and my mom, they grew things for themselves. They didn't grow to profit from it. Like my grandfather was a farmer. So I just remember that, how we were just kids, and we were outside, and we were dirty all the time. I had a big bow on my head. My mom was the only girl. My mom always put a big bow in my head, and not like a bow like now where you attach it. It was an actual ribbon that she would tie on my head, and it was always lopsided because I was running around with my brothers. And I just remember when I close my eyes, that's what I think of, is myself and my brothers running through the fields and just being that free that our children do not know what that even is. That's my first memory all the time. That's what I think of. Number two, if you could go back in time, where would you go? and what age slash time period or year would it be? So I don't really want to go back in time. I am one of those people, I try to live without regret. Now, of course, we all have some regrets, but I don't try to beat myself up about any kind of regrets. But there is one place that I would go at one time in my life, and not for any other reason except that I've always wondered if it would have changed something in my life. And I think it would have. And that's when I was, maybe 17, 18 years old. And I used to waitress at this little diner at George and Willie's restaurant, it was called. And I used to waitress in the afternoons and evenings, you know. And there was a waitress that invited me to her church. And I went to her church, and I don't know, I thought it was all crazy. I was a Catholic, and I was raised as a staunch Catholic. So like anything, like being a born again Christian, and don't forget, I'm really a foreigner. I mean, you know, I'm 17, 18 years old. I was only here like 10 years in this country. It just seemed like so crazy to me. I don't know, but I've always wondered if I had stayed and I had accepted Christ as my Savior right then and there. And if, not that my life would have been much different, but I think the way I would have handled different things that went on in my life, I think I would have approached it differently. I would have made different decisions, or I would have tried to make better decisions. And I think it would have affected that. Because I think, you know, it's not going to, you know, everything that has happened to me in my life has happened that actually I came out better in it. As I hope that makes sense to a lot of you. I feel that sometimes we need to become stronger and to kind of, you know, peel away the layers of ourselves. I think we need to go through things in life. So I if anything, I wish, I sometimes wonder if I went back to that age and that moment, and I decided to stay and accept Christ as my Savior, how much different my life might have been in the way I approach things, the decisions I have made, and maybe even it wouldn't have taken me as long, maybe, to, you know, unveil this. If that makes sense. Number 3, what is the one thing you would change about your past slash present life? Now, like, again, I don't live in regrets, and I don't really ever want to go relive my life as much. I really don't. I really like where I'm at the moment that I'm there. So if you asked me this at 30, I would have said I'm happy at 30. I'm happy at 35. I'm happy at 56. But I've always kind of, one mistake that I feel like I've done that I could have, you know, I wish I knew what I know now. You know, we all say that. But I had 4 children, and 2 of my boys passed away when they were infants. And I've always kind of regretted not donating their organs, because I've read later on, like years down the road, I read an article where you know, organs for babies are much harder to come by than they are for adults. Like, there's a really even longer waiting list for infants. And I often think, like, boy, if I had just, but you know, I was really young, and I know I'm making excuses, but like I said, there's so much that I didn't know that I know now, and I wish I would do things differently. So I would do that differently. I would do that, and I would donate all their organs, and try to save as many babies as possible. Number 4, do you have any sisters slash brothers, and how many? I have 2 brothers, and my parents, and my mom actually is the one that, like, she just like sat down and like calculated exactly 3 years apart for all of us. Like, she thought that this was like the perfect age group to have a child every 3 years. So that's what we are. We are literally 3 years apart. and my brothers. I am right smack in the middle. We all three of us look alike. If we stood together, we're like one of those families that like we just look alike. You could look at some. Oh, that's your brother, huh? They all, they could always tell it's our that we're related. Whereas my children look so different, and it's kind of funny because even my brother's children kind of look different from each other, but yet we resemble the big square head. That's that we all got that. Number 5. Did you have a pet as a child, and do you have one now? Now, we used to have, because we lived on a farm, we did have, like, we had horses, we had cows, we had pigs. We also had a cat, and we had a dog. I don't think we had a dog, excuse me. But they were like, if you live on a farm, they're not inside, they're outside. But we did have the cat, and the story goes that when we moved here, we ended up giving them, I think, to my grandfather, and she kept coming back to the farmhouse, and they would go and get her, bring her back to the house, and she would keep going back to the farm where we lived. She ended up dying. She ended up missing us, I think, so much. Here in my lifetime, we've had many pets. We have had many pets. Right now we have cats. We have 2 girls, Savannah and Isabella, and they're not even. I think Savannah is like 6 months, and Isabella's going on 4 months, and that's what we've the last, I don't know how many years we've had cats. I do not like rodents, so to me a cat is something that is like vital. But the older I get, the more I fall in love with them. Like I am so in love with the girls, and I call them my girls so much. But we had all sorts of things. We've had hamsters, we had rabbits, we even had a baby raccoon. So we had crazy amount. I mean, I had a pigeon one time that flew around the house that, trying to save. Number 6, do you have kids, and how many? So I had 4 children. I had 3 boys and a girl. My oldest and my 3rd child these are the ones. My son is the oldest. My daughter is my 3rd child. My 2nd and 4th passed away when they were babies. Fonzie was Alfonso, but we called him Fonzie. He died when he was 5 months old from SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And Richie, he lived only a month old. He had spina bifida, and we brought him home, and after a week, he passed away. Number 7, what did you want to be when you grew up? Actually, I've wanted to be a lawyer, and I had no intention of having children or settling down or I was okay with just being an auntie, and I never thought about having children, and yet when I did start having children, I can't imagine my life without having children. But I've always wanted to be a lawyer. I've had huge interest up to now, even to anything criminal, CSI kind of thing, lawyers, criminal lawyers, cases, murder mysteries, all of that. The law, it just so interests me. Of course, that would have never happened in my youth. Like I said, we were an immigrant family. There was no funds for anything like that. And honestly, we wouldn't have even known where to go to get like a scholarship or anything like that. That was just not a possibility in that time. Maybe now. But I've always had that interest in that. I love thrillers. I love detective stories. I love that part of the law. Now, 7. Oh, no, I said that. 8. Name one place you would love to live. I've always been drawn to Europe, and I think that's because I was born in Europe, and I've always had this struggle where, who am I really? Am I an American modern person, or am I Polish? And at that time, like I said, my country was communist, and it's been free now since the 80s. But so, and I lived in the farm in a country setting in a village. So I've always been attracted to Scotland and Ireland and England in particular, and that whole countryside and the greenery. Even now on YouTube, I watch a lot about Russian life and Russian homesteading and village life and things like that. Romanian. I love the countryside. I love the greenery in it. So even here in the United States, I love a four-season, and I love a lot of greenery and like cornfields and all. This is what I've always been drawn to. So would I move there? Probably not. I'm old. My children are here. My children are buried here. My grandchildren are here, and I would stay here. But I've always been drawn to those. I love that old English countryside village towns that you would, you see on the murder mysteries and Miss Marple and all. I love that. I love all that stuff. Cottages and country life, riding your bicycle. Number 8. Oh no, number 9. Who was your first boyfriend and what was he like? Well, my very first boyfriend was named John, just like Terry's. And he was actually German/Italian. And I think that's where my love of Italian men has started. And his family owned the local bakery. And he really, really, really liked me. And I think I broke his heart, which I think I often regret that because he really, really liked me. And I think I just went out with him because I didn't have a boyfriend and everybody else had a boyfriend. But he was so nice. Now when I look back, you're so stupid when you're young. And there were so many wrong men after him when I could have had a good man right from the beginning. So, but I've always liked Italian man ever since then. And I think that's because of that. And I didn't even know it till my mom pointed out to me one time. She says, "You and those Italians, man." Okay, so what was his number 10? Have you ever made a gift for someone who did not like it or gave it away? Now, I have made multiple gifts for people. I have given gifts to people, and I have seen them be regifted, or I have not seen them at all. So, that that saying that, are they crochet worthy? Are they worthy of all that handmade work that you do? I have given a gift to someone. It was a particular gift that I made, a blanket for someone, and I'm not going to name names. And a couple years later, I find out from a relative of theirs, let's just put it that way, that, "Oh, thanks for the blanket you made me." And I was like, "I never made you a blanket." And then when I seen it, it was the same blanket that I gave to that person, and apparently they regifted it to their family members. So that's a little, like, what? Yeah, so now it's like, I make blankets, but a lot of times my family will ask me to make something for them. And if they ask me to make something for them, then I do it. But yeah, I've made things for people, and I've never seen it at all. At all. Like, what did they do with it? Did they have it, or did they throw it out? Okay, number 11. Where were you born, and do you still live in the same area, country, or state? I was born in Poland. I was born into the country life, which in Poland at that time it was communist, and there were two classes, like it usually is in communism. You have the city people, which are wealthy, and then you have the country people that are poor, the farmers and the villagers, and that's where I came from. And I have lived in Chicago all of my life. Since we moved here from 7 years of age. Last year we moved to Central Illinois. Otherwise, I've been in basically the same, Chicago, maybe on the outskirts of Chicago, but I was in the city all of this time. I know the city so well, honestly. I couldn't get lost there because it's like and I'm saying that and watch me get lost. But I love Central Illinois. I love the country atmosphere. And the last question, you meet your 18-year-old self. You're allowed to say 3 words. What would you say? Oh, I should have read that one before I started this. What would I say to my 18-year-old? Ah, oh, that is so, I got 2 words. I got 2 words, or I should say 2 phrases with 2 words each. How's that? Can I put in 2 phrases with 2 words each to tell my 18-year-old self something? Oh, okay, I don't know. Oh, okay. The first 2 words I would say would be accept Jesus. Accept him, okay? Don't run out of the place. Just accept him. And the other 2 words I would say is say no. When those Italian men come around, say no. I know that's bad. Sorry. That's all I'm going to say. So you guys, I hope I'll see you soon. If you want to join in, join in. Don't wait to be tagged. Just join in. Have a great Saturday. Bye-bye.